ready. Okay, we have here Michigan super fan. What's your name, Jeff?
That's right, Jeff Holzhausen.
Right, Jeff. What's your prognostication for this weekend?
Bill, I've thought a little bit about it. I've studied the tea leaves and looked at the way the Buckeyes fell as they fell from the tree on Observatory. We're going to win by 14 to 17 points. Right now I'm going to say 31-17, and that's being conservative.
All right, go blue.
Go blue.
You get to hear about the Michigan-Ohio State game from the perspective of those who have actually been there. We'll have a game of Michigan touchdown pursuit.
Woo! Go blue.
That's the trivia game. Additional cheers from Superfan. We'll have our drawings, our silent auction, and our 50-50, as well as some jokes by Larry. And then finally, we will sing the victors before we all take off. Thanks.
Have you ever been this darn excited for a game 5 days before the game started? Who in the world would have thought back in the days of the 10-year war, Woody and Bo, some of the great games that we've had and part of the big game, that the Rose Bowl would ever be thought of as a consolation prize? Now, I hate to do this to you. We're going to end with the victors, but there's only one way you can start, and that's with the victors. Am I right? So let's get this energy building. Let's get this energy building. Let's everybody stand up. Let's everybody stand up and play. You got to come from down here. You got to come from down here for the Buckeyes. Ready? 1, 2, you know what to do. Hail to the victors, hail to the country heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the leaders, and hail to the victors, hail to the country heroes, hail to Michigan, the champions of the land. For the former players, did we do that right? That was acceptable? All right, let's play some cowbell. Let's play some cowbell, and that'll take you to dinner. Is that all right? How's that? Here we go.
Special thanks to everybody here, but especially special thanks to Bill, because this guy is unbelievable. My name's John Gindy. I'm from Trenton, graduated in 1981 from Trenton High School, and then went to U of M. Had the good fortune of playing with Stan and Jeff, coached by Coach Hanlon here, and graduated in 1986. And once you become a part of the Michigan family, you're always a part of it. You might, like they said, you might get a degree. Hopefully, you get a degree from Michigan, but you never graduate. You're always a part of the program, and that's one of the things that makes it real special to be with Michigan. We had a lot of good things happen this past year with the University of Michigan team, and we'll let Coach Hanlon and Stan talk about that. But a couple things happened within the last week. Yesterday, a great Michigan player, Tom Slade, who was quarterback for the 1971 team, passed away from leukemia, and he fought a good fight, and he had a chance to do a lot of good things this past year, and as he struggled with leukemia and aplastic anemia. Then last week we also lost one of our former coaches, Hanlon, who was at Michigan for 8 years, and he touched a lot of people. And Jeff Cohen would like to come up here and talk about his experiences with Ohio State, with a special emphasis on something that motivated him from Coach Hanlon in 1980. Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan playing for the trip to the Rose Bowl, and this Hanlon got Jeff Cohen fired up to play football that day.
Thanks, John. Can everybody hear me? I've got a cold here.
No, don't. That's just for the video camera.
Okay, then first of all, it's a pleasure to be back. I appreciate you guys inviting me back. I haven't been here for a couple of years, but it's always great to come out on this week and be amongst a lot of Michigan people. I'll share a quick story that John alluded to, but and I'll be brief because you got Coach Hanlon here and you have Stan here, and I'm sure they have some great stories, and mine haven't changed, so you've probably heard them before, but this is kind of unrelated, but I heard a story, and Jerry, you may know this, but I heard a story a few weeks ago told to me by Bob Thornblade, who is a former player and one of our coaches at Michigan, and we were talking about Bo after Bo had gotten free school, but back then they had some great teams, and so if this is correct, the story is that Bo was coaching Ohio State's freshman team, and they played Wittenberg's varsity team in a scrimmage game. And late in the game, Ohio State was up by 3 points, and they had the ball on their own 20-yard line going out, and it was 4th and inches, and Bo was gathering up the punt team, and Woody Hayes, who was obviously the head coach, who was just kind of down on the sideline, roaming the sideline, watching the game, came over to Bo and grabbed him and said, "The heck are you doing? This is Ohio State, and we're playing, this is 4th and inches, you can't punt the ball." So Bo, went along with, he was a young coach, went along with Woody, pulled his punt team back in, sent the offense back out there, and they got stuffed and didn't make the first down, and then Wittenberg came back down and scored and won the game. And evidently Woody, that week in practice, Woody, got with Bo and said, was just ripping on Bo that, you're not going to be much of a coach and this and that, and Bo was like, "What are you talking about? I was going to punt." So I don't know if that's a true story, Jerry. But, I thought it had a little bit of an Ohio State flavor to it. When Bo started off at Ohio State, and thankfully, as we're all thankful that he didn't stay there very long. As John mentioned, Milo Vuletich was one of our coaches and was a very intense individual who, was always fired up to go. And I'll never forget, it was a Friday night, we were playing down in Columbus, and we would always have a team meeting, and or we would have a team movie after dinner, and then that particular night, Lloyd was the secondary coach, and so he had a brief meeting for all the defensive backs, and we met, and then we were going back to our rooms, and we came off the elevator, and we were walking down the hallway, going to our rooms, and Coach Milo was walking down the hallway and ran right into us, and he was excited as always, and he said to us, he said, "You guys are the luckiest guys in the world." And when he talked, he got real animated. And he must have said it 3 or 4 times. "You're the luckiest guys in the world." And then he said, "Do you guys know why you're so lucky?" And we didn't know what was going to come out of Milo's mouth. And we said, "No, Coach, why are we so lucky?" And I'm going to change it a little bit because I have my son and some guys in the room. But he said, "You're lucky," he said, "because you could have come to school at this place and been a you-know-what the rest of your life." But again, we all know that it's Michigan-Ohio State week. It's the greatest week of football you're ever going to have. I talked to Doug James today, who was a former teammate of mine and captained the 1984 team. He lives down in Louisville, and he said, "Jeff," he said, "I'm so jacked. I can't even work, you know. And that's kind of how I was. And I have a little TV in my office, and one of the guys I work with came running down at about 5 minutes to 2, and he said, "Turn on ESPN Classic, the 1979 Michigan-Ohio State game's on." And so I turned that on, and as I watched, you know, as I tried to work and as I watched some of that, you know, it really kind of brought back a lot of great memories. And although the outcome wasn't very good, and it, you know, kind of got me intense, and I'm starting to get real intense where come Thursday and Friday, I mean, I don't even know if I should go into my office, because it's really hard to concentrate. And once you've played in this game, it's hard to focus. I mean, it's like no other game. And with everything on the line this year, you know, you can turn it up a few notches as far as the level of intensity. And how many of you people are going down there? All right. You are brave souls. That is a brutal place to go, but hopefully, you know, your support is going to help lead us to victory. I'm going to just tell one, and then we really came together as a team and ended up winning the rest of our games, going down to Columbus in a great battle and for the Big Ten championship. And our defense didn't allow a touchdown the last 4.5 games of the season, which is kind of unbelievable when I think about it, especially with college football today. But it was a team where we kind of had the us against the world mentality, where we came together and we believed in one another and we believed in our coaches. We knew if we kept working hard that, you know, we could have a successful season. And I think that's probably, without being in Ann Arbor, I think that's probably a lot of the attitude that this team had in the off season after last year. You know, when you lose 5 games in Michigan, it's not a lot of fun. And today, with talk radio and the internet and with all the idiots on there who think they know what they're talking about, you know, it was Michigan on the downslide. And as a player, that motivates you. And I think that really was big for this team in the off season and coming into the season, where they really were focused and have come together. And they were, even though we didn't have a chance at the national championship with 2 losses, although they were 2 games we probably should have won, and I think we lost by a total of 5 points or something like that. Where at the end of the season, we were, I think, without a doubt, the best team in the country. And, you know, I kind of see this team kind of hopefully going down that same path, where now they're going down to Columbus with a lot on the line, and they're playing great as a unit, and they're coming together, and I think they're on a mission. And I think if everything goes our way, they're going to come out victorious on Saturday, and it's going to be a fabulous season. So I'm going to close with that. But thank you again. It's always a pleasure to come down here, and all of you people love Michigan, and I love Michigan, and there's no better place to be to start your week for the Ohio State team. So thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah!
Bring it out here, stand around here so we can get you.
Oh, crushed it.
Snake!
The mic is for the video. That's why you can't hear it in the room. So in case anyone's wondering, we can't hear you. Anyway, for 30 years, I put out a Maize and Blue radio guide for WJR, whose tower is right down the road. You can probably feel it in your bones here. We're so close. And boy, they sure got theirs this year. And sadly, I had to put the guide out in green and white. But boy, I'll tell you, there's not too many wins on the back of this thing. That's going to all change, though, I assure you. I want to quickly just say that if any of you folks in the room have the Bob Ufer albums, or either one of them, those were all made in my basement. I'm the guy that saved all the tapes. There you go. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing that the radio stations keep nothing. I mean, if you want memorabilia, don't go to the radio stations. Every time they move, physically move the station, they throw everything in the dumpster. It's just amazing, and they don't care about anything about the past, which is unfortunate. And I remember I took one of those CDs, or UFRI CDs, and I stopped off in just north of Worthington and south of Delaware as you're going into Columbus. There's a high school called Olentangy High School. And one of the guys that teaches there is Rick Middleton. Does the name ring a bell? 73, I think the 10-10 tie was the year that that Bob Ufer was just yelling out, "Here they come, here Middleton and the Buckeyes," and they tearing down the coveted M banner, which was just dastardly deed. But anyway, I gave him a CD, and I noticed that the school colors at his high school are maize and blue. I swear to God, they truly are. And I thought that was an amazing thing. Also, the pep rally. If you've seen the Ufer pep rally where he gave that famous speech before Bo won his first bowl game, I was so proud that I taped that, videotaped it, because channels 2, 4, and 7 were there, and nobody thought it was worth taping. So nobody else recorded that. So I was really glad to be able to get that. I might give you a tip for those going to Columbus. Nobody wants to listen to the Buckeye station. So if we can't get a transmitter set up like we have for some of the away games, so that we can hear our guys locally, on any FM radio down in Columbus, down at the very start of the dial at 88, just past 88, you can get the sound of Channel 6, which is ABC in Columbus. So you can actually hear the ABC telecast, but unfortunately I think it's going to be Brent Musburger, and he hates Michigan. And so people, those of you who are going to watch this game, please do yourself a favor, even if it's a couple of seconds out of sync with the TV picture, listen to the radio, and it's 104.3 WOMC or 800 CKLW has the game, because you just don't want to have to listen to that jerk. And if anyone's got a pen, and I don't mean to be self-serving, but believe me, I practically give this stuff away. Anybody that wants to go to my website to see what all is there after the 3 W's, it's simply my last name, which is spelled VU, like a VU meter. V like Victor, U like Uncle, OLO, volovideo.com. So if you want to check that out, or before I run out of cards, I'll give you if anyone wants one. And last but not least, I'm giving this to all the radio stations. This is the #1 song this week, folks. I wish we had a CD player so we could play this. This is, do we? Then we'll have to play this because this is the greatest tune ever. You see, the song they have about us, you can't play on the air. I mean, even before Janet Jackson. All right? So this one is made 31 years ago by Dick Burton and Tom Ryan, and it's called "Liquidate Ohio State and Turn the Buckeyes Blue." So we'll hopefully get that on for you, and thanks so much, John. I hope I can do it. I hope you got that.
And we ended up losing the game. That was early in the season. And we got better as the season went along, but we went to Ohio State, and Ohio State hadn't lost many games. And so in the afternoon, we played them, and we happened to beat them 56-6. And but Illinois had a better record, and they got to go to the Rose Bowl. And everybody thought that Ohio State was a better team, much better team. And the West Coast people were really complaining. Why are they letting Illinois come when Ohio State's the best team? Even Michigan's better than all of them. And Ohio State, Illinois goes out there and beats California, I think 46-15. Shut them up pretty good. But the next year we went undefeated, and we got to go to the Rose Bowl. We won 49-0. Our coach was kind of mad. He said, you know, 1902 we came here, played the first Rose Bowl game, we won 49-0. You guys come here and you win 49-0, you haven't improved one bit. But it was bad in those days. One bad thing about it is until Bo came along and bitched about not being able to go to the bowl games, you could only go to a bowl game once every 3 years. So we went when I was a sophomore, won the Rose Bowl. The next year, we had a new coach, Benny Oosterbaan, and we were undefeated. and we were national champs. Couldn't go to bowl games. Next year we won a championship again. Couldn't go to any bowls at all. That's how it was until they had that big tie game in Ann Arbor, and the next year they changed all the rules for bowl. But nowadays, they go to a bowl game. I think Michigan's got a record now about 30 straight bowl games. That's wonderful. I don't want to take too much time, and I just want to say that I think our boys are going to be ready. I think that we got a heck of a good team, and if we hold on to the ball, and we take care of the quarterback, and we take care of their quarterback, we're going to be all right.
Great job.
Back him twice.
Got it.
I was fortunate enough to go to the University of Michigan after having my father be a Wolverine, and the next person up here was a top player in the state of Michigan his senior year of high school. He was such a good player that when he came to Michigan, he started in the Rose Bowl as an 18-year-old freshman, and he lettered 4 years in Michigan. Happened to be a teammate of mine, Stan Edwards, and then after Stan. After a few years after he left Ann Arbor, Stan sent his son to Ann Arbor, Braylon Edwards. So that's what Michigan's about.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I guess I tried to keep the legacy going a little bit. I'm not sure this thing will happen, but I don't have any opportunity late in his sophomore year and I guess his junior year also up in Ann Arbor. If you include those penalties, Braylon had we had 5 touchdowns and almost 600 yards receiving playing this Ohio State. His 3 years, like I said, he didn't play much as a freshman, so that's kind of my thing. You talked about, John and Jeff talked about our 1980 team, which I thought was a pretty darn good team. And I think Coach Hanlon would agree. And prior to this year, I get asked, how do I think our team, because at the end of the year, there was absolutely nobody in America to play with us. But at the end of the year, do I think our team could have played with the 97 team? I think the 97 team might have been in trouble with them, because I think we were pretty darn good on both sides of the football. But if I would take that 1980 team, play against this team, I'm not sure how well we'd do. This defensive front they got with these linemen and linebackers are awfully good. We would sure try to. How successful we'd be, I don't really know. So this is a very special week. Wednesday I'm going down to Youngstown, Ohio, because I got a Michigan-Ohio State rally there. And Thursday I'm going to Columbus, Ohio. I got another one down there too. And those people are real special down there. I started not to go, but I thought I'd let them get to the university and go ahead and go. I need to kind of remind them of why this rivalry is the way it is. Have they ever shut us out in the last 20 years, Coach? I don't think so, because I remember being recruited by Woody Hayes and going down to Ohio State Stadium, and I was on a recruiting trip down in Columbus, Ohio, coming out of high school. And I was at the game, and after the game, I wound up in the locker room that had just put 22 points on Ohio State Navy School zip. You know that down to Coach Hanlon. And I'm like, you know what? I think I may be right back home with you guys. I know I'm not going to Ohio State. And I know how Braylon feels about the game. Actually, Braylon has already told the coach of the Cleveland Browns, Ronald Cornell, that you're going to have to find me. Because typically what happens on Saturday with pro teams, that they go in the hotel the night before the game, and he has to be in a hotel at 6 o'clock. Well, this is a 3:30 start, and the travel from Columbus to Cleveland is a little bit. He'd already told the coach, I can pay you the fine today, or I can pay it to you on Monday. I'm going to be at the Michigan-Ohio State game, so Braylon will be on the sideline at the game there. So. He's pretty excited about going. So, but the rivalry it's a good rivalry. We have a lot of respect for the school. Sometimes the rivalry gets a little bit out of hand, and I think, and I'm going to remind those folks, we need to kind of keep it, above the Bush League level to make sure that. And I tell them, only way you can have this kind of week is you got to have two schools. It's always taking care of business and done everything that you needed to do to get there. And so the program, and saying that I am a big proponent of Michigan State finally hiring the right coach so they can get the rivalry back to where it should be.
Yeah.
Just stop bringing anybody in and just to try to make sure he's better than the last guy you had. It doesn't do us any good when Michigan State suffers like that. And I'll be glad when they get their act together and they bring that program back up, and then we can have more games like we're going to have this coming Saturday. I really appreciate you guys inviting me here. This is an absolute fabulous time in the Down River Club of U of M of Greater Detroit. Go Blue.
How many years till the little guy gets to play in Ann Arbor?
I already figured out he's entering class of 2014. We'll hit it together. Come on.
There you go.
We also have, we don't have as a speaker, but I wanted to recognize them, two past presidents of the U of M Club of Detroit, Roger Simmons and Jeanette Schumacher. The U of M Club of Detroit will be holding the 86th annual Michigan Football Bust. What's the date, Jeanette?
November 27th.
November 27th. So Jeanette says that they're planning on having a championship evening, so that's her pep talk for tonight. Every good leader surrounds himself with good people. I guess the best thing about Coach Schembacher, he knew how to organize and knew how to motivate his players and everyone in the program. But really, he surrounded himself with great people. And the person he worked with them the longest and kept Coach Schembacher, made Coach Schembacher look good. Put him in the Hall of Fame. And one person that all the former players love to see and always brings a smile to everyone's face who knows him is Jerry Hanlon. And we're glad to have Coach Hanlon here tonight.
I have a couple of things I want to address. First of all, John, we went 30, 2, and 1 tie in 3 years and never went to a bowl game. Now, you don't think we deserve to change that damn rule? I want to ask you, as long as Braylon's coming down, tell him to bring his pen. We might be able to use him. I'm really a little bit sorry because this hit me right between the eyes. John told me that he lost Tommy Slade. I've spent a little time with Tom in the last couple of months. We did a bone marrow drive over at the stadium, and I went down and spent about 3 or 4 hours with him. We were so hopeful that he might be able to come up with something, and so this evening, while I enjoy being here all with you, once you know it's a little sad for me to hear that because I hadn't heard it. I went to Bruce Monty's father's funeral today over in Dearborn, and so when you get my age, I guess you start spending more time at funerals than you do at weddings, and that's not very nice to have happen. But Art mentioned that you got a microphone in your hand, but it isn't very good. And it reminded me that I used to be a high school football coach in Youngstown, Ohio. And when you're the high school football coach in Youngstown at a Catholic school, they invite you to do all the banquets at the grade schools in the area. Now, if any of you have been to Mahoney County, you don't know how many Catholic grade schools there are. And so they invite you, and of course you go, and they give you a rigatoni dinner and a holy card. Now, that holy card hasn't gotten me anything down here yet, but I hope somewhere along the line will pay off. But I'll never forget going over to St. Pat's grade school over in Hubbard, and like all of them, you go in and the banquet is held in the cafeteria. The cafeteria is in the basement of the school. The school runs from here about twice as far back there, and the ceiling is about that high. And so the acoustics in there aren't very good. And they give you some sort of a portable thing that you're supposed to stand up and talk in. And so I'll never forget, I was talking at this banquet this one night, and I'd talk for 6-7 minutes and so forth, and guys in the back were kind of going like that, and I said, hey, what's the matter? Can't you hear back there in the back? The guy stood up and said, no. The guy up front says, here, I'll trade places with you. So maybe you people in the back are enjoying this a lot more than you would at the phone. Ohio State Week. You know, I came down here to Downriver. I do enough of these things. I drove all the way to Youngstown, Ohio last week and went to Warren and did one of these things with the Ohio State Michigan group down there. And the kids there were Greg Skrepnik and Ricky Powers in the 1991. Now I come back and I retreat back 10 years and get all my guys from the 1982. But to be around these kids, it's fun to go back. But I do enough of these, but Downriver has been good to me. At one time, it kind of was my second home from Ann Arbor. McCartney was from down here, and Lloyd Carr, and so we used to come down quite often, play a little golf, and go to the Sportsman's Den and tell lies and do all those kind of things. So when they asked me to come back, I couldn't turn you down, to be honest with you. This has been a nice group of people down here for me over the years. But you talk about this rivalry, and you know, the rivalry was here long before the Miami Mafia came up here. Speaking of that, somebody asked me, what's it like to coach for Bo? I said, well, that's simple to answer. I'm going to heaven. But when we came here, the Ohio State game has always been a big rivalry. John knows that, the Snow Bowl and all those others were great history. But it became something different. And the reason it was that we were from Ohio. And we knew the best team in the Big Ten for the past 10 years was one team, Ohio State. So when we came here, we said, we are going to beat Ohio State. Amen. Because if you beat Ohio State, you will be the Big Ten champions, and you will beat the other teams on your schedule. And so we took that challenge. And then every one of you know what happened in 1969. We turned it around and we won. But there was some stubborn guy down there in Ohio by the name of Hayes that said, you're not going to do this every year. And so it became that. We'll get you, or I'm coming back and get you next. You get you, I'm coming back. And we geared ourselves to play each other. And we became the two best teams in the Big Ten, if not two best teams in the country. And those programs were run by men and by the administrations and by schools that did it right. And so if there's one thing I'm proud of, that we played hard and we did it, but we did it within the rules and we played the game the way it should be played. So it hasn't stopped since Bo and Woody have stopped. It still continues to be something special. The game itself is what's special.
Burton, they don't get any better than them. I mean, these guys are the best fish around. As you know, being a Trenton resident downriver, we've had a lot of people from Trenton part of the Michigan program. We've had two captains, George Manns, John Milligan, captains of Michigan's team. Riverview, we've had two coaches from Riverview, be it Michigan, Bill McCartney, who did an unbelievable job. Then we had Lloyd Carr, our coach. And Coach Carr's having a pretty good year. And when it all adds up, he's going to have a pretty good career. But Coach Carr was coached by Ernie Mayors in high school, and he's here today. And can't say enough about what Coach Carr has done and what this club has done through the Coach Carr Scholarship Program. I know it means a lot to Coach Carr to have his name on that award and recognized as a downriver student going to the U of M. So it's just a tremendous connection between the Michigan football program and this club and downriver community. So let's bring Bill. Bill, what do you want to do next year?
Jeremy's in charge.
Okay. You see him? This guy's a legend.
These guys are legends.
He's in every picture possible. He's in 125 years of Michigan football, the video, he's in it. He's in every book that Coach Schembecker's written about Michigan football. And here we have Superfan to lead us out with some Michigan cheers.
After Coach Hanlon, anybody ready to suit up? Anybody ready to play? Now, can you imagine if we can get little guys like us if this guy can get little guys like us to run through a wall, imagine what he can do with these big guys. Isn't that amazing? All right, we're going to do something we do in Section 20. After we score a touchdown, and we're going to score a lot of touchdowns on Saturday, I'm here to tell you. We're going to stand up, we're going to spell out Michigan. And then Columbus is about south. Every time I turn south, I can smell it a little bit. And when we're done spelling it, we're going to yell Michigan, we're going to point south. How's that sound? All right, now let's get the energy level up. Everybody stand back up, we're going to spell Michigan. Here we go. Give me an M. Say go. I want to hear the right say blue. I know this guy's got a lot of lung power. I'm going to hear blue right in my face right now. You ready? You ready? Go! Blue! 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 Go blue! I'm a sucker for a Maze cowboy hat. Number 2's got to be the touchdown fairy. Come on, get out
Let's put the board between 2 roses.
Everybody knows Space Fade was extra credit. Everybody knows Space Fade was extra credit. Oh, she got long shoes. You gotta see my shoes. These are original Superfan Nikes. All right.
Okay, tattoos is
By a round of applause, we're gonna pick our winner. Number 99, right here. Where are you from? What town you from? Carlton. Carlton. The touchdown fairy. Now, where are you from?
Roseville.
Roseville.
Downriver.
Let's hear it for the touchdown fairy. Where's it from? Where are you from?
Wyandotte!
There you go. This is going to be 1, 2, and 3. Contestant 1. Yeah. Contestant 2. Yeah. Contestant 3.
You have those photographs too.
I got one of those.
One of those photographs. Or there's a 1-year subscription to the Wolverine magazine.
Oh, you know what? I got 2 to join the club.
I don't have any.
Touchdown fairy. Game ball signed by Lloyd Carr. Carol Crossan. And the one with the most heated battle for the winner is the number 20 jersey signed by Lloyd Carr. And the winner is Carol Crossan. All right.
I heard that Michigan State did hire a new coach. He's the head coach right now at the University of Tokyo. His name is Win-Won Soon. All right, just a few Ohio State jokes. Little Johnny runs up to his mother and says, Mommy, I want to be a Buckeye when I grow up. Mom answers, now, Johnny, you know you can't do both. Then there's this guy that went into a Columbus store and told the clerk, I want a scarlet and gray outfit, I want a scarlet jacket and gray slacks. I want a scarlet shirt and tie, and I want gray shoes and socks. The clerk asked him, he says, are you an Ohio State graduate? He said, yes, I am. How did you know? He's because this is a hardware store. Top 10 courses at Ohio State. Number 10 is philosophy. Why don't they spell it with an F? Number 9, pre-law seminar. Age of consent in 50 states. Number 8, sandwich making. A project, of course. Number 7, hand shadow workshop. Number 6, subtraction. Addition's tricky friend. Number 5, Cliff Notes versus Monarch Notes. 2 views of the classics. Number 4, hydraulic principles of the keg. 3, the college classroom, a simulation. Number 2, ABCs, the extended version. And number 1, your fanny from a hole in the ground, a comparative study. And then the last one I have is a guy walked into a bar and says, "Hey, did you ever hear about the one about the Ohio State Buckeyes?" And 4 huge men stood up and said, one of them said, "Hey, you know, we played football at Ohio State. Now, do you want to tell that joke to us?" And the guy replies, says, "What? And have to explain it 4 times?"
Get up on those feet, raise the crowd, fights on, everybody. Coach Hanlon, come up here, teach me how to do it right.
Oh, you know how to. I've done it more than I have.
All right, ready? 1,